So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Pantheon of Hell map that I made using this toolkit. You can make all sorts of different types of rooms, really let your creativity run wild. All the pieces have been made on the grid to make it really easy to snap the whole thing together, so you can quickly build any style of thing that you like, adding lots of elevation, adding all sorts of crypts like tunnel mazes, and then you can get really creative with the design and build stuff with bridges and all sorts. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you the new model kit. You have barriers, you have walls, you have pillars, floors, you have beams, you have ceilings, a whole bunch of other little things. And included within those, you also have different variants. And you can use these to build all sorts of different rooms. To get this model pack, just go down into the description and find the download link. Once you've downloaded it and extracted it, you'll have these folders and files. All you need to do is drag them into your Black Ops 3 root. And that's it, simple as that. If you've already got Radiant open, you need to close it and reopen. You'll find all of the pieces have been created as models. You can search for the keyword despair and it will show you all the different models in the model browser. Creating the pieces as models greatly improves the performance, and you should find you'll have much higher FPS when using these. It is worth mentioning though that as models, they are not clipped. So when you're placing these, you'll have to do manual clipping. But to avoid that and for the best experience, use the prefabs. To work with the prefabs, you want to right click anywhere at the top, go down to where it says prefab browser, and then here you're going to want to go down to custom, go down to IceGrenade, and you should find the Hell building kit. First thing to mention is we have different folders. If you're starting to design a level, you may want to use the pieces that are in the block out. This is just a set of all the pieces, but as grayed out, so you don't have to think about what it looks like. You can work like this, or you could just work straight with the pieces already decorated, but just to let you know that there is a block out section here. And the benefit is they've all got the same origins. If you grab this floor piece, you start building out a floor with it, but now you want to decorate it, you can select all these pieces and then you can change these so you can go up to floor 1, and all of a sudden you now have the decorated pieces. So you can go through your whole map, swap it all out and have your map completely decorated. So everything in this toolkit has been made on the grid to make it a lot easier when it comes to building out your layout. If we grab this wall, for example, you're going to want to be working on the grid. You want to make sure this snap to grid option is enabled. So without it enabled, you can actually move the piece wherever you want off the grid. You never want to have that off. I know as a creator, there's going to be times where you're like, oh, this kind of wants to be moved. No, you never take it off the grid. There's rounding issues where it won't actually save the same placement of where you left it. Also, if you have a lot of stuff off the grid, that's going to be a performance hit as well, and it becomes an organizational mess. So there's just some of the reasons, but try and stay on the grid. You can use Control G and that will snap stuff back to the grid. Keep the grid on and use Control G to snap to the grid, and you can use the numbers at the top of your keyboard to change the grid size. I am working with a grid size of 7, which is 7 on the keyboard. It's actually grid 64, and that means I can hold Control and Alt and I can just click and place more copies of this wall. So in just a few seconds there, we've managed to create this wall and it's all on the grid. I can then grab, say, these 4 pieces. I can do Control C, Control V. I can do flip on the Z axis, and then I can move this up and I can grab these, then hold Control and Alt and then left click. That will create a duplicate, and then same again, I can click on the Z axis rotate and then line it back up. In just a few seconds, we've managed to build the 4 walls of a room. So included in the kit, we have a floor and a ceiling. This giant floor right here was just for demo reasons, but if I hide that, you're going to need a floor. So this giant piece right here, this big block, is called a floor piece, but it can be used as walls, it can be used as ceilings. You can copy paste and paste it in. Bear in mind, our grid size is still set to 7. I had to drag that down a few times there. It being on 7 means that you can very easily work with it in the grid. So you see already, I've managed to just quickly create this entire floor area perfectly. It's all lined up perfectly right now. That's just the benefits of working the grid. You might be wondering like, oh, but isn't that not going to be, is that going to be bad because you've got 20 separate pieces rather than one floor? Well, actually, they're models and they're so low poly models that it's not going to make a difference. And the fact that they're models means that it's actually going to improve performance a whole bunch, other than the clip element obviously on it. But for easy use, I built out an entire map with these prefabs and I get about 400 frames frames per second. So I can tell you it's the most performant map I've ever made using these pieces. They're really good. All right, let's jump to another piece here. This is a roof tile. So I can do the same thing here. Paste these out, grab the row and do a few clicks here, and we have our room. But that room's a little bit boring. Let's grab the 6 in the middle. Delete those. We're going to grab some of those walls. I'm going to change the angle that I'm viewing with. I just did like Control Tab to switch the grid view around, and I'm pasting these walls in, and I want to grab those 2 there, rotate those, and then rotate these, and then I want to grab these roof tiles again, bring this back up, and you can see how nice and easy and smooth it is to work with this because we are using the high grid there, the grid 7, and you can quickly snap this whole kit together. There we go. That's good. But don't forget, you're going to need some doors in here to actually get out of this place. You just need to swap one of these walls. If I bring this entity info over here just for a second, you can click on the entity info and then change it to a door. So if I just change that to a door, all of a sudden we have a way out of here. You can start building out this level. I've just grabbed a couple of walls. All of a sudden we're starting to build a corridor, and there we go. We got a freaking corridor in how many seconds was that to build? Not very long at all. You can work out your floor plan, so you can design your floor plan first and start building out what sort of shape layout you want, and going from there. These little walls here, I'm just Control Alt clicking, and you want to click in the middle of where you want something. Then I only want to do a little rotate there. Perhaps here we have these pieces like this. One thing you may have noticed if you're an eagle-eyed viewer is that there may be some places like here where the seams don't quite line up. Even if I change these to the decorated pieces, so we're working with the block out pieces. Just for example, say I'm ready and I want to switch all of this to the finalized version. I can go to the entity list, I can search for wall, then see that all of these are the wall zeros. So I'm going to grab all of those. I'm just going to deselect the one that's in the template there, or the little palette area. And then I'm going to press N, and I'm going to go to where the model is here, and I'm going to change the location to wall 1. There we go. Boom. We have just already decorated this area here. If I just delete that there for a minute and go in here, the whole area is decorated. There's not enough variation, so you can actually go around and select a few here and there, as many as you want. Switch those out with maybe a wall 2, and then you get a bit more variety in there. That's how simple it is to then go from block out to actual decoration. But we're going to go back to working in the block out, because I just want to get back on that point where you have these seams here that don't quite line up. So even in the fully decorated mode, you can see you're not meant to see the inside of this tile. I've created a piece for this. All you need to do is use either 1 rafters or 2 one of the pillar modes, and that will hide these pieces here. I call them trims. Okay, you can call them whatever you like, but that is what the pillars are for. So you can grab a pillar and you can place that over here. You need to go down to grid 6, or the 6 on the keyboard rather, and there we go. I just use Control G to snap to grid there, and there you go. So now when you're building up this room, it's going to look amazing. Have the same thing here on the roof. We have rafters to fix these areas. So here's a rafter here. It's a little wooden beam. If I go over to the decorated piece, you can see it over here. It's just a simple rafter that will help clean up those pieces, and you can place those specifically however you like. I use them like here, for example, to clean up these edges. And there's an example of this inside the Pantheon of Hell map, how this will look. It can look really clean. It can really tie the map together. And you can use these as well to cross over areas. I can put it like halfway up here, and I can actually move it sort of randomly here and then off over here. It's still on the grid, but it's on a slightly lower grid, and you can start creating some interesting spaces. So yeah, it can look quite nice to stick these pillars in the corners as well. They've been created with the right thickness in mind so that you can still use them in corners. You can use them in corners, you can use them in the middle of walls, and it will work every time. Let me place these in the corners. There we go. Look at this. So we grab like this, press 7 on the keyboard again to get that grid back to 64. Go all the way up. We've got ourselves a very tall, crazy tall room here. But this is the joy of working on the grid. And yeah, we can use one of those rafters again to just decorate that little piece there. Beautiful. That will look very nice. Yeah. that is pretty much it. I don't want to get too crazy on this tutorial, but you can use this kit to really build out and create your own levels. I would just go over here and show you there are some extra things in here. These are extras. We've got doors that you can stamp, and when you stamp them, the door piece itself will be separate. This is to help when you are zoning and creating the actual scripted doors. If I stamp this here, you'll see that now this little clip here, you can go and you can set it up as a door, and this door here is a script model that you can assign and set up as a door, and you still got this as a model. Got a little cap here, which can be quite cool for just cosmetic reasons to stick that in places. Got a scriptable little obstacle piece here that I made for the hardcore mode. And then here is what I call spawner tunnels. So you can just slap one of these on the side of a room, and it will basically be a place where you'll have a spawner ready to spawn the zombies. If I do stamp this, you'll see that it's actually made up of the individual prefabs, so you can swap the walls out and make them different. You can, now that I've stamped it, the spawner nodes you can actually set up to the right zones along with the barriers, and you're good to go. We have different variants. So this one's called the spawner tunnel right. This one's the spawner tunnel left along, because it's a slightly longer version. And then you have the spawner tunnel left as well. So just a few variations on spawner tunnels. They're off to the side on either end because you don't want players seeing where zombies spawn. It's a much more immersive, nicer feeling when you don't see where they spawn, when they're just coming in and out of everywhere. They're the spawner tunnels. They are in the tools. They are, if we go to the prefab browser, you have a folder called extras, and that is spawner tunnel left, left long, and right. And you have the pyramid top piece as well, and the insane block as well. So that's insane as a custom scriptable element that this will just pop up when it's on insane mode. So yeah, you got this block out, which is what we're doing over here, using this block out to build your level. You have the extras, which I was just showing you there. And you have another one, which I haven't talked about, which is raw. So raw is going to be for anyone that wants to take this kit to the next level. Say you want to build a really intricate ceiling piece or some other type of pillar. I haven't even talked about all the pieces yet, but I'll just get back to that. Say you want to create a new type of floor. You can drag in this floor piece, and if you actually look in this prefab, this is the original piece. This is the brush, and it is the decals themselves. So you don't want to be working with these raw pieces because they're going to be a lot heavier in the engine to be using. But I'm giving you the creation blocks so you can actually modify these and make them look however you like, and then print out your own models and turn them into your own models. So you have everything it takes basically to build whatever you want. But yeah, you shouldn't even need to use these raw pieces. You can work with all the other stuff. Just topping off to make sure we covered everything. Yeah, we got the floor/wall pieces, the barriers. There's also these ramps as well, because you want to add some elevation to your map. These can chain up. These are actually half block by design, so they actually snap together, and that distance is actually the same distance as a floor tile. So we look at a floor tile and then we look at these pieces here, it's the same width to them. You can't ascend an entire floor piece in one tile's worth. That is because it's too much of an angle. But what you can do, if I just move this all the way up to here, for example, let's just say we have a floor here. I am working with the models here. You can do the same thing with the prefabs. This piece here is 3 of these will then allow you to go up from one level to the next level of floor. So it's by design. It's a good angle. It won't cause any issues with zombies traversal. All the pathing for zombies is perfect at this sort of angle. So you got the most amount of angle. And yeah, and if you ever want to fill in the sides, say you want a ramp, but you also want to be able to see the side of that as part of the design, you can use these pieces here. So this is a block piece here. So block half, and you can use those to fill up the gaps and create a solid piece. The whole thing is designed like super modular, and you should be able to build anything that you can think of with this, with the floors, with the doorways, with the barrier pieces, with the walls. We even got lava pieces in here as well, with the little bridge pieces. You're able to create some bridges. We got the pillars and other pillars, and then the half blocks, and then some various different other blocks here. So you got this one here and the fountain piece. That is pretty much it. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really looking forward to seeing how people use this toolkit, what they come up with. It's up to you. That you can go as big as you like, you can go as small as you like. It should facilitate whatever you think of. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to bring this tutorial to you. My name's IceGrenade, and this has been the Hell Building Kit. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to stay tuned for more, and write me any comments if you have any questions about it. Just send me some comments. Look forward to seeing what you say. Right, see you later, people. Bye.